Good evening, everyone. In today's video, we are gonna go over the server merging progress that we at 245 are in the midst of. So I'm just quickly gonna take you through how to probably assess the right server for you if you find yourself in a similar situation one day. So as you know by now, at least if you've seen my previous videos, 245 has gone a bit to turn into a bad situation, let's put it that way. Siri, Patrick Jr. here, our strongest players, kind of went rogue and have just been terrorizing this server for a while now. Find a lot of people just shielding up constantly. It's just unfortunate, not really comfortable playing on the server right now. So we are a bunch of guys considering other prospects, so to speak. And just to take you through how we have assessed what servers to move on to. And before, if you are unaware of how to move servers when I'm speaking about merging and whatnot, then it's something that's possible to do through these space portals that you can acquire throughout the game. So if you take a look at a different kingdom in a different server, then you can see down here that there are some requirements to fill out. And if you press the information button here, you can see how this cost of space portal goes up. There are plenty of videos on this, so I won't cover too much other than what I will cover in another video is tips and tricks as to how you can really stay in low power, because this is often something you plan ahead. I would rarely say that you just spontaneously decide to jump. So always have this in mind that there is an advantage of staying lower in power, but we will cover that in another video some other day. Today we're gonna dive a bit into the different servers that we have been considering. So to just quickly summarize, then we went over most of the servers. 241 is a very attractive server if we were to consider staying competitive in the server versus server competition. That's the Frostborn that is starting soon. However, it's also way further developed than our servers. We can see it's even a whole month, 35 days actually further developed. So a lot of us, we would be like just pawns in a small game, I would say, whereas we're actually playing to stay quite competitive. Why 241 has not had so much interest of most of us, whereas 243 still moving backwards. So we're still moving on to an older server, meaning we will be playing with stronger players than ourselves. That one has been a bit interesting because it's actually really active. Again, it's 2 weeks younger than 241, so there's a smaller gap between us and them. That one has been quite interesting, and also it's a one faction server. We will get a lot of core rewards, but yeah, it's actually really interesting how many players they actually have active. Moving on, then, what has been of most interest to me, for instance, is to move forward. So improve our individual competitiveness by moving into younger servers. So that means that all us a bit stronger guys on our server, we will remain in a strong position as we have a development advantage over guys, say, on 246. 246 has been particularly interesting, as you can see here. When you consider a new server, you can take a quick look at the kingdom power on each kingdom on the server, basically. So that's the number you have here. That is 3,070 for Ruslan and 3,030 for Vidas, indicating that there's actually a lot of players on each kingdom, meaning that it's quite active. You can also have a look at the map on the top left here, where you can really see that they have distributed the cities nicely. It means that there is some sort of organization. They're not fighting each other across territories. So 246 has been looking very promising just at a first glance. Moreover, we've been considering 247. The issue with 247 is definitely that we would have to wait another 25 days before we can jump. That's 25 long days on our server right now. So yeah, that has been our three prospects, so to speak. And I'll just quickly take it through how you would then further investigate them if you were to do the same. So what I've been doing, for instance, is to create a character on each of the accounts and basically get it to level 10, because then you actually get access to the rankings list, and you can get a you can start analyzing about where's the level of super active players and just like casual players, and see kind of the number. And that's just, again, just because I really often look at the number of active players on the server I want to play at, not too much as the peak troop power. If there's a whale, if there's 2 whales, that's fine. It's definitely more to see when you scroll down to say, take a look at top 50 and just overall assess the peak troop power of number 50 in a sense. If you have 50 quite active players, I would say that's nice for one of these younger servers. So if we just, what I have been doing is I would take a look at the number here on 243 that we're looking at it's about 80,000 power we're looking at in the top 50. It won't really have a big drop regardless of how you look at this. It's more that you just set a number and compare. It could easily be that, say, the Bossman Jr. here, he's actually inactive. You could gain access to their line somehow and take a look at the number of hyper levels. Often that requires a bit more, like you would have to discuss with them and all that to get in. I haven't, for instance, I've just applied and haven't been accepted yet here. So you could also go in and count the number of hyper people on the server. And for instance, I'll just take you through that because I did that on 246, say. So this, however, this was the 2 faction server in a sense. So you also need to kind of assess that you're just, if there's a 2 faction server, you have to assess 2 alliances of their level of activity in a sense. So if we take a look at DAO here, then you can see, well, we can start chronologically and start also taking a look at the rankings here. So the top 50, you have a lot of players here that are seemingly at around 62, 65. This shows quite a casual activity, I would say, which is a good thing. It kind of shows that you have at least 50 players that are quite active. Again, it won't be 80 because the server comparing this one to is almost a month older than 246. So of course you can't look at, okay, before it was 80, now it's 60, so therefore 243 is a better server. I wouldn't look at it that way. This is actually quite strong. I would argue that you have 50 players already at above 60,000. I might even say this is better than 243 because of that. These guys will grow quickly. So that is one way to go about it. And then we will just have a quick look at how many in the number 1 alliance on the Red Kingdom here. We can kind of just go in and see of these people, like of this power, how many are actually hyper. So signing in every day, sometimes even twice a day. So what is the first concerning thing is actually that the leader is only active. So he's not that, he's not that active of a player. You have the officers, of course, and then our force, there's only 2 who aren't active, so that will make that 12. Here of our 3, you have 20, of which 1 wasn't. Yeah, so we are at 31 active players. Well, that's counting the officers, so 34. There must be a reason why these guys, I mean, this is so low, despite him being hyper, I'm not quite sure. So I wouldn't count these guys in, so definitely this guy here in the R3, M2XD, is the last person we're going to count in. So they are 34 somewhat active players in this alliance. But then on top of that, you do have the Green Kingdom, so this alliance here. That number should at least be 20, I would say, as well. So that's where we have our 55, and we have just confirmed that they are hybrid active players. Next step you probably would want to do is start getting social with them, chat a bit around. And this is where you can get some further intel as to exactly like what to expect for the future in the server. And that's what, for instance, in 246, what is a bit concerning is that a lot of players are going to merge on to 241 because they want to be on the strongest server for the server versus server in Frostborn. I mean, this is where, for instance, Yasser, who is this mega whale, he's probably going to jump. I was told that the leader of the alliance is going to jump. How many, I don't know. But this is going to be quite a drop in power for the server, that two of their strongest players are actually going to be leaving. Also, it's always a concerning thing when an alliance leader decides to leave, because who's going to pick up the mantle? And like, you know, it's really important to have some active officers and leaders to basically maintain the activity on the server and organizing it. So yeah, 246 has been strong, but there's concerns around that. And this brings us to the final prospect, which is 247. So yeah, this server, we're a bit unsure about it, to be very frank. It's also seemingly quite competitive. So if we just do the exact same thing and go in on the ranking, and yeah, here, however, you are actually looking slightly stronger than 246. The unfortunate thing is that I do not have access to the alliance, however. So this is something I would probably do to make my final decision. But the issue is that I'm on the wrong kingdom, so I'm on green. And yeah, I actually swapped. So you can see there's 6 days until I can change kingdom again. So have that in mind whenever you're just swapping kingdoms, that there's a cooldown on it. So in this case, it's quite important for me to get in on the alliance to really have a closer look at the hyper level of the members there. So all we can do is just being social with the guys here. Something that I also have taken into consideration is exactly how much international language is being spoken and how much Chinese or Arabic, for instance. It often causes some issues, in my opinion, that if say all of this had been in Arabic, I would really not bother going and translate every single text here. And that would often be quite an issue. So you can see, like, there might be information here I would be missing because I wouldn't have paid attention to it, simply because I can't follow. So yeah, this is something that it might be a bit personal, that I kind of prefer English-speaking servers where the majority of the people speak English. But nevertheless, there is still a lot of people here speaking English, which is all looking good. So yeah, right now I think it comes a bit down to 247 or 246, which we are going to pick of the two. For me, it is a long time to wait for 247. Why I am an advocate for 246 to just get jumping actually like next week. It's in 12 days actually, rather than waiting 4 weeks for 247. So yeah, basically a last thing that I might encourage you to do is to get in on the discords of the different servers. So yeah, as you can see, then I'm in on the 247 and 246. Again, this is something I find a bit frustrating, is if the Discord is using these translating things, like, yeah, that it can make it all a bit unorganized to have all these translations, because again, if someone translates midway, some text jumps around, like, for a player like me, who I just need the information given to me quite crisp and clear, then these things can be frustrating to be working on these cross-language servers. So it is something having worth considering. How is the Discord set up? Do people speak English there, or do they also stick to their own languages? And do you need to translate a lot? That's worth having in mind. But yeah, this was it for this video, guys. Just these are some quick things how to really investigate servers. Have in mind that it takes about, I would say, only 30 minutes to get to level 10, and that allows you to access the rankings here. This is for me one of the biggest things to do. So create an account on each server and then get them to level 10. I would maybe say stay at castle level 8 because this allows you to delete the account afterwards. In my case, for instance, if I find the right server, maybe I want to bring my other accounts to that one, and you can at max have 3 in each server. You should not bring it to castle level 8. So you can see here, that's actually what I wanted to show, that I have now in 247 a castle level 8 account, which means I can't delete it right now. So yeah, stay at the castle level 7, just in case you want to bring some farm accounts or whatnot, then you're kind of stuck with that one now. So yeah, that was it for this video, guys. Like and subscribe. Take care, guys. See you. Bye bye.